Welcome to The Real Deal. It's your boy, Ace Got Talk. I'm down in South London at Nashat African Cultural Centre, a one-stop hub for all of your cultural essentials. I'm here with the great, legendary Dr Jude Joseph. How you doing,
Ace, what's happening, man?
God bless you,
Good
man.
to see you again.
Absolute pleasure to be here, man.
Every time.
Happy
Love
to be here.
No problem. Yeah, good to have you. It's been a while since we caught up. Yeah. But like I took a bit of time to reflect, contemplate, do some meditation, and just really see what direction we're going, where I'm going. And sometimes you need that silence because it's the two states in it. You got the tick and the tock on the clock. You got music has rest. So the silence is just as important as the noise. You
Definitely.
know? So I just been taking some time out to think, to see if we're still on track and going in the right direction. So it's good to catch up with you.
Yeah, man. So what's good? What's new?
What's new? Well, as you see, we're going into the whole COVID-19 and the lockdown and the madness that people around the world globally have been experiencing.
Well, the second wave now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
second wave.
I interviewed you right at the beginning of this pandemic, and I know that a lot of the community was quite panicked, quite alarmed, and I know you gave some very practical solutions for the community back in March.
Yeah.
So moving on 6 months, we're going into the second wave.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Yeah, I mean, back then we were saying that the second wave's coming because remember, as an aspiring master student of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, he already gave us updates. He already gave us the inside information on what's really going on. Because as you know, with everything, there's different levels, So we already knew the second wave was going to come, and there's still more things to come. So even back then, we were obviously, get your health. Most people who have been conscious and have been on that journey for a while have been looking after their health with the herbs and stuff like that for the immune system.
Building up their immune system,
But it's not just about the physical, because it's about, as you said, the mind, the body, and the soul. So when you're looking at what's happening on the planet right now, we know that there are principalities in high places who are actually part of the orchestration of what's happening.
Definitely.
So it's not just on the one level. There are levels that we can obviously go into more details and talk about. But we've been preparing since then, and as a people, as a community, we've still got a lot of unifying to do, because that's what it's really about at the end of the day. It's about how do we come together to be more strong to deal with anything that we're being faced with together.
100%.
Yeah.
Just to add value to what you're saying, I love the fact that you talked about not only building your immune system but also strengthening the mind as well. How would you suggest that our listeners prepare and strengthen their own minds? How can they do that? Yeah,
I mean, it's funny, we say the mind as if it's your own, but what we all do is actually tap into the mental reservoir.
Definitely.
Right, so this is why there's nothing really new under the sun.
Yeah.
We have a book there called The Mind, which obviously the master Malachi wrote years ago, and in that book he explains that everything you see in the physical world has to come first from the thoughts and the mind,
and
then you manifest it into reality. So the mind is a very powerful source that if you haven't got control of it, it can be influenced by others, know. So you're right. So when we deal with the mind, it's about knowing who you are, and that's about the information and the knowledge that you're digesting, which you then have to put into practice, because knowledge without works is really, what's the point of it? You've got to put it into practice.
Definitely. And when you talk about the mind, I know since the beginning of this COVID, mental health has increased, and we don't necessarily mean schizophrenia. Things like stress, anxiety, depression, these are all mental states of well-being.
Absolutely.
And for a lot of people there's been quite an imbalance through fear and trauma, and uncertainty. So what advice would you give those people? How can they calm their minds?
as I said, the mind is the most powerful things. Obviously, there are tools we have that I mentioned: meditation, sitting in silence, contemplation, reflection, tapping into what we call outformation. Yeah, because what you have to realize, you're in a planet, and when you're inside a globe, there is outside too, and information comes from outside to in. So in order to be able to tap into your ancestors, to tap into other sources outside of the planet, because when you say you're inside, you're insane, you're in formation. The word information says, when you say it quickly, you say information. But when you say you're in formation,
that's right.
You have, as I said, principalities in higher places who are trying to orchestrate the thing, have people locked down, have people behave in a certain way, and have them in formation. And you've got to realize that your mind transcends all of this. Yeah. So when you start to deal with higher states of consciousness, you're transcending people, places, and things.
Time and space.
Yeah. Right. So you start to deal with things on a high vibration.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with, yes, you can see physical things and races and colors and all of that, but when you're dealing with the war we're facing right now, it's not just about races and Black Lives Matter. It's also on a conscious level, on a humanitarian
it's a
level.
humanitarian.
Yeah, it's a humanitarian thing. So you have people who are on a higher conscious, regardless of their race, who are also realizing, there's a shift, there's a dimension, there are things happening outside of what you see on television.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's all about the mind. It's all about the mind, and the mind makes the decisions. So you have to first think of what you're going to do before you do it. So when I say I want to move my hand, I have to first think, move your hand, and then I'll move my hand.
Yeah. I mean, I've often referred to this war as a psyops, which is a psychological operation.
Yeah.
And without drifting too far off, there's 66 million people in the UK. You cannot control 66 million people with guns. You cannot control them with the army. They haven't got enough manpower.
Right.
Even the biggest army in the world couldn't control that amount of people. So the only way to control such large numbers of people is to control the mind.
Absolutely. And that's why every single thought, remember, the thoughts you have may not be your own.
A lot of the time they are people's
right.
own, because they're being bombarded through
programmed.
Social media, television, etc. So you're being told how to think, literally.
Absolutely, and that's why even the word program used to be spelled with a double M-E, program me. So you're actually being programmed by the television, by the information that you see, by the media, by peer pressure. So you get a lot of chaos going on in the mind. So you have to be able to tame the mind and bring it to a stillness that you can then hear your own thoughts and not the influences of other people. So when we talk about the books, we have books you're mentioning about mental health. What you put into your mind reprograms your mind, and
100%.
and you're now able to cultivate that knowledge for your well-being and for the well-being of your family and friends.
Definitely.
So we're all about the books. So the books that you see in the store cover every topic you can think of. And as I keep mentioning, I said back in March when we had the interview that the issue with our people is that we are not following our own culture.
100%.
Yeah, we follow other people's culture and their way of life.
Definitely.
So when you go into, say, a religion, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, all of these foreign religions, you're being programmed in the way the people who put those books and that culture out want you to behave.
100%.
So what I'm doing now is going back 400%,
360,
focusing on our culture.
100%.
Yeah, and that's what we're dealing with now.
And it's important. And without being motivationally biased in any way, it is fair to say that even a little island like Jamaica, the culture of that people has had an influence around the world.
Of course.
On an astronomical level. And then we go back to, just using the example, our grandparents that, left the Caribbean islands and came over to the UK and have left their culture behind and been immersed into a Western culture. But when you do the maths,
foreign mind. Yeah, they come and take on the foreign mind, and they forget who and what they are. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it is going back to source. I mean, as we have previously alluded to, how far do you want to go back? You know, because if you want to, we could pick it up from here, we could pick it up from here, or we could go back to the beginning. And as you have pointed out, it's been well documented that the black man is the oldest indigenous human being on the planet. So when we talk about religion, we talk about spirituality, we talk about knowledge, we talk about science, we talk about psychology, we talk about chemistry, we talk about alchemy, we talk about maths. We taught and gave all of these sciences to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I'm saying, is it's about time we go back to recognizing our greatness.
Straight.
Not in the past, but right now, today. Because we are the children of those same ancestors.
Straight.
We have those genetics. We're dealing with a genetic science. It's in our DNA. It's in our RNA. We are those people.
E for 9.
Right. So what has happened is, by following other people's cultures and way of life, they've separated us.
100%.
But you can take a drop of water from the ocean, it will still be water, H2O, no matter how far you take it.
Yeah.
And you know, water's always going back home.
To source.
To source. And that's what we are doing. We're going back home, and we're going back to source. And it's about empowering our young people and our people in general, because they've forgotten who and what they are.
100%.
You are not who you're told you are. You are who you are by nature. Yeah, so we're dealing with our science, Wusabat, which is our culture. Yeah. Now, when I use certain words, you're dealing with tones, vibrations, and frequencies.
Sound, frequency, vibration.
Right, so we got to go back to our own language. And we have our tongues, our own language, because when you think and dream in English, which we consider not to be a language, who's controlling your being?
That's right. You control the diameter of a man's knowledge, you control the circumference of his thinking.
100%. You know, so basically, you know, the time we're in right now is powerful. It's about us coming together. But one of the issues I found, like, you know, when we were doing the show in March, was like, okay, what's the solutions? So I went round and I was speaking to most of the leaders in the community and people out there, and there are so many people out there that have a piece of the puzzle. And they're doing great works. But what it is we're in a day and time now where all those pieces of the puzzle have to come together. And you have the master, Dr. Malachi Z. York, who has the rest of the pieces. The analogy I use is to say, they created racism, because we're not running a race with no one. In fact, we have a saying, no one wins the race in racism. Now, when you're running a race, let's say a relay, you're gonna choose your best person to finish the last. Like if we were putting a team together and we had Usain Bolt, we would put him at the last, because even if all the other people were dragging behind, once he gets hold of that baton, he's gonna make up, right? So when we're dealing with our community and our people, you have to realize the greatness of the great Dr. Malachi Z. York. He tried and has been trying to bring the family together 30, 40 years ago. Everyone from Marcus Garvey, Noble Jew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, name Malcolm X, everyone was passing that baton on. We're now at a day and time where that race has to be finished. And it's
the last leg.
The last leg.
It's the last leg.
And he's the most and best qualified to take us through to the finishing line. But we have to do our part, you know. So what it is right now, when you go into the conscious community and you have a lot of people teaching out there, people may not realize that some of the people that are teaching them are all students of Dr. Malachi Z. York. I don't need to name names.
We don't need to name, but they're just breaking off a little piece and
regurgitating it. And our young people need to know that they have to get back to the source. In fact, everyone needs to get back to the source, and not by just talk, but by qualification. Who's best qualified to do that job?
Just to add value to that point, it's got talk. A wise man knows that he knows nothing at all.
Absolutely.
But through my limited understanding as a student of the universe, and through my limited understanding of religion and, you know, various leaders that have come into our community to take us forward, I wholeheartedly second what you're saying about Dr. Malachi Z. York being the most appropriate person on the planet at the moment to do the last leg of the race.
Yeah.
And I would actually challenge anybody out there watching this video, if you think somebody else is better placed to do the job, send us an email.
Call me.
Yeah, tell us, we'll have the conversation.
020, yeah, this is our telephone number, 0203-795-1337. Call us, pop in, and we're happy. And again, we've done the debates. This is not about debating. We're not here to verse each other and who knows more and all of that. We just deal with the knowledge and the coming together, the teaching. That's what we do. We teach because we were the ones that introduced the debate format. If you go back in the days when the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, was putting out 360 questions and debating everyone, and recently in the conscious community you had his son Prince York. He kind of went back to that, and now you got people like Polite, Young Pharaoh. There's so many people out there, and I'm not disrespecting anyone, but what I'm saying is that we need to fall in line and come together, because the things that are coming, this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So we need to get organized,
to be prepared,
like everyone else,
mentally,
like all
physically,
races.
and spiritually.
Absolutely, yeah. So coming back to, let's touch on the update on the 1MC. So one of the solutions we put out back then was the 1MC, which was about raising £1 million.
£1 million.
It was a simple solution where we get 1 million people to donate £1. We get £1 million, as you know, utilising that with compound effect, investing and so forth. It would have set us up to do some great things and prepare for what's coming and our future in general. And as I said at the time, it was a social experiment as well. I wanted to see if, as a people, because remember the Thomas More,
old Caucasian man hobbling around in his garden with a Zimmer frame, raised over £30 million for the NHS.
That's right.
Effortlessly.
Right. So I was like, if he can do that, we must be able to do that as a community to start to put certain things in place.
And there was no ambition to even go anywhere near those types of figures.
We were like £1 million. He's raising, at the time he raised 19 million, and then it was like 32, kept going up. And we were like, can we as a black community really come together and raise £1 million? And obviously it was a good idea. We got good response. Some people started to donate. But to be honest, I knew at the time, I was like, for me, it was a social experiment, and to date, I would say that 80% of the money that has been raised has come from myself and my team in Nashat, our team. So that shows me that we're not really ready in the sense of coming together. Because even remember at the time, what's our sister's name that was the Garvey Village? She was trying to raise £5,000.
Auntie Jean.
That's right.
Auntie Jean's been trying to raise £5,000 since 1901.
Yeah.
So the maths.
So I'm like, are we really just about talk? Because you can take £1 out of your pocket and literally throw it away in the bin, and it won't mean nothing to you. Yeah. Or go and buy a McDonald's, or
go and spend £5,000 on a Gucci belt.
There you go.
And feel no way.
Buy some pigeon and chips,
or go to a dance and dash for a bottle of champagne and Hennessy.
Right. So we
do that regularly.
We do this, or hair, or nails, or eyelashes. We can go on. And the brothers too. It's not just the females. But I'm like, £1. We made it as simple as it could possibly get, and we still haven't raised, a fraction of that. So what do you say? So we've said, all right, we'll give it another 6 months. So we're going to do it for a year to see if we're really ready. Now we've come into the second wave.
But it shows where our priorities lie. And for me, I think it's back to this mindset of, you control the diamond of a man's knowledge, you control the circumference of his thinking. Our community don't value things like, personally, I'd say investing in schools, investing in education, investing in the future of their kids, because
the legacy.
If they understood the value in what certain brothers were doing, here's £1.
Yeah.
Here's £1.
And some people have that, and it's about birds of a feather flock together. So you got to read the people with that mentality.
Hence why I always say, excuse me, but eagles don't fly in flocks.
That's right.
Because sometimes you're flying so high, it's lonely.
Yeah.
It's
Are
lonely.
you a chicken or you're an eagle?
Or you, if you want to flock together, you could stay with the flock. You know what I mean?
So it's about like minds. Going back to what we said about the mind again.
Yeah.
And so when we see that people are not thinking correct, and what it is, when you start to ask the reasons why, it's things like ego. Oh, is he going to run away with the money? Is he the money's not even going to me personally, because the sisters, they handle that. They do with the administrations, because the sisters, they run the family. They nurture the family. So they're best to manage that. So they've kept records. Every single person who has donated, there's a record. So, but the thing is, like, people are like, what is he going to do with it? But I'm like, if you looked at us as the NHS...
What does it make a difference? Here's £1. So what if I never see you again?
Yeah, but like you said,
I
it's
give
the
you
mentality.
£1 with good intention.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if it works, you benefit everybody. And this is what people don't understand, that if I win, you win.
Yeah.
And if you win, I win.
Yeah.
So my best interest is to make sure you win at all times, because if you win, I'm gonna win.
This is the mentality we got to get our people to recognize, because if you're not thinking right, because you're out of your mind, because everything you've been programmed with is not from yourself, then you're not going to think correctly. But that's still going on. What we're going to do is give it 12 months to see whether or not we can achieve it. If we don't, we can decide on what to do with what we raise in terms of something for the community, or those who have donated, we may refund them, because if we haven't achieved what we wanted to do with it, then we have to address that. But so that's the update on the 1MC. The future, we got to be prepared for what's coming. We're going into winter. Yeah. As you know, our people generally, winter we hibernate. So summertime is when we're more, vibrant and so on. So we're going into winter, going into lockdown. We got to make sure certain things are in place for the legacy of our children and the future of our community. It's all about can we do it or can't we do it?
Interesting. So we've covered the knowledge. We've touched a little bit on the spiritual side of things. But you just mentioned that we're going into winter, and I know that we've both been advocates since March about how important it is to boost your immune system.
Yep.
Nashat, every time I come through, I always pick up my sea moss. Sea moss has got 92 trace minerals in, so it's a very good source to boost your put minerals back into your system. Yeah. But I know you have a wide range of natural health products here that you source from all around the world. Absolutely,
and we source from. We're trying to keep the group economics going, so we source from the Caribbean, Africa, various parts. Yeah. We have the purple sea moss as well as the natural types. We have a lot of natural products. We got all the Atunbi, we got the Maridina. We got,
neem leaf.
We got a lot of products. So
all the vitamin C powder as well. Yeah. So, and a little birdie tells me that Nashat is now going online. So all of these products
available on the
website, which
you can order online, nashat.co.uk.
Brilliant.
And we've got a TV channel that we're going to be launching, because
shout out to Nashat TV coming soon.
That's coming soon. Watch the space, because we have a lot of content, and respect to you, because you gave us the opportunity to come on your platform.
Respect my G.
But a lot of what we teach when we go into the deep stuff, unfortunately, when we go on other platforms, sometimes we can't really go in detail as we want to. Yeah. I mean, our sisters are like on point with a lot of information for the sisters. We got things for the brothers. Like I said, the great Dr. Malachi Ziyul, at 1921, he was speaking 19 languages fluently. He covered every religion, put books out, over 1,000 books now. So we have a lot of information on our culture, which we need to share with the family, and that's what we're going to use the platform, the TV.
I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to some of seeing some of the content that starts to come out.
Yeah,
you know,
when we start going deep into the extraterrestrial agenda, what's going on the planet is ET. When you say planet,
the draconian vampires, all that. You know what I mean? But I know even me, but I've been holding back because I know some of that stuff's too heavy. You start dropping it on people, and they go, wait, what I'm doing? What's it? So I have had to kind of just drip feed it. Yeah. You know, little words I might drop in there sometimes. I say, vampires. But when we really start breaking down the draconian star constellation and where these people come from, well, not even people, but it just goes into another realm. You know what I mean? But so I'm looking forward to something.
We're going to go into all that spirituality, proper the rituals, our rituals that haven't been performed for thousands of years. You know what I mean? Communicating with our ancestors.
Brilliant.
Yeah, these are all things we had on our land. 476 acres on Tamaray in Egypt of the West. You know what I mean? Four Shady Dale Road, who knows, innit? Like we've been doing these things, but the main plight right now is the liberation of our people, and the freeing of the great Dr. Malachi Z. York, who's been incarcerated.
Free Dr. Z. York.
Yeah, free Dr. York.
Got talk.
Free Dr. York. You had people like Prodigy and certain people were starting to talk the talk because, you know, like, most people don't even really know what's going on with his case and all of that. That's something we can address as well from our point of view, because there's a lot of misinformation on the net. We're going to address that. We're going to do a video. We're going to address that. We're going to start addressing some topics. Nashat TV, man. It's going to be a mad thing. So stay. We say mad, but it's going to be a great thing. Yeah. So what else we got coming? We got the TV. We got the new online shopping. We got we got so much stuff. But tune in to nashat.co.uk and everything will be on there. Brilliant. What about the socials? Where can they find you on the socials? Yeah, Nashat UK. That's Instagram, social, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. Just search Nashat Croydon. You find us, man. Yeah. But we're just taking it to the next level now. Brilliant. So you heard it here first. It's your boy. It's Got Talk. I'm down there in South London, sunny South London. You know what I mean? Right at Nashat African Cultural Centre, one-stop shop for all of your cultural needs. Check them out on the Instagram, check them out on the Facebook, and check them out at www.nashatculturalcentre.co.uk. Nashat.co.uk. That's NASHAT. Brilliant. And obviously there's the great, the doctor. Every time I salute you, you salute me. It's a one-man salute. Never salute to you that. The great doctor. We're all great. Jude Joseph. Big up yourself, my brother. Every time. Bless up. Yes. Love. All right.